Live and we are live. Yeah, man. It's hey guys. You're probably tired of seeing me today. This is my second go around, but I am having fun today. We spoke this morning about having fun in the workplace, and I am having fun in the workplace, and I'm back again. This time with my friend Susan Ibitz, and we're gonna have some fun. We're working, as you can tell, but we're gonna have some fun. Susan is uh, amazing. There's so many different adjectives, but let's just phenomenal, right? She's a hacker, and you're like that pretty little face is a hacker. Yes, she's a hacker, but I know when we hear the word hacker, we think in terms of computers, but no, she's a human behavior hacker, and I'm gonna have her talk to us about that. But she spent many years, decades, in fact, studying, researching human behavior, doing work on unlocking the science behind human behavior, um, micro expression, body language, deception detection. In other words, she can tell if you're lying, right? Um, face reading or physiognomy, as it were, and personality types. And so this afternoon, we want to spend some time talking about that, as well as we're going to talk about reading faces with masks on. So, without further ado, I want to welcome Susan. Welcome to Keep On Pushing.
Thank you very much for having me back, Devon. I really appreciate it because this time is not about me. It's about all of us and about that stop being afraid. Because like I always said, fear is equal to fight, flight, or froze. And we are having froze community. We have a froze population and humanity, and I think that's the way that a lot of leaders take control of the population. How tyrants get control. And in this case, it's not a person; it's a virus who's taking control of us. So if we can help you to go through one of the three processes, the health organization says that we can stop this and make it less afraid and make it more human again. Why not? Nobody have the right to go to bed with their own knowledge when you can be helping others.
Indeed, indeed. So we're going to get into that. But I want to,
You want the dirty secrets that how I ended up doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
We're
gonna get there. But look, if you're on Facebook, you're on LinkedIn, and some of us are on YouTube. Hey, feel free as you're listening to us to.
Oh, I'm gonna look the comment.
Yeah, make comments and of course ask questions, right? So hey, Claudette, I see you there on Facebook. Thank you for joining us. So yeah, tell us how, I don't know how many little girls are dreaming of becoming a human behavior hacker. So how did that journey start?
No, I wanted to be an FBI profiler. Worse, I have even a title. I'm gonna be like, I started a podcast about women in cells because it's one of the places where women still struggling. So it says, let's do a podcast talking about women in cells. And one of the questions that I ask is like, what do you want to be when you was a kid? And only one person says a business person. And like, why? Because they always look so polished, so put together. So are you going to look like that? But the truth to be told, everybody want to be an astronaut. Everybody want to be a ballerina, an actress. I want to be the best in my field. And with time, understand that field is human behavior. I always was under the impression that the same way the Superman can do certain things, Batman, Robin, Spider-Man, that was a superpower and never can be accomplished. And I always want to have the superpower to reading people, but not to be like a psychic. I wanted to like really know what is going on, like based on everything who happened in your body, because it's happening to me since I was a kid. Since I was raised in different countries and I studied in different countries, the first thing that you do not know is the language. So you start paying attention to what other people use to express. And I saw sometime to my parents, like, that man is mad or is going to start yelling, and the person start yelling. And my parents like, how you know that? Like, don't you see the face and you see the face? So thank God I have parents that were outside the box and there were not normal parents. Right. Again, thank God for that. That there instead to like, oh, Susan, you are, they used to call me Bella because one of my grandmother is Italian and Bella is like my baby.
Right.
Bella, you are like dreaming. No, they start pushing and like they help me to develop that. So when with quality time with my dad, it's like, okay, what do you want to do when we are together? It's not like, oh, we're gonna go for ice cream. Like, what do you want to do? And I
Hmm.
says, I want to watch Colombo. I want to watch The Godfather. I want to watch the mystery movies. And that was my quality time on Sundays with him. And the joke or the game was who discovered who was the assassin or who was the guilty person first.
Hmm.
And he saw then I have a tendency to like, how you know that happening? Because you see what he asks or what he says. So when I was developing this by hobby, I get to a point like, okay, I need to do something with my life beside to having fun. I need to have a career. I need to decide what to study. And I went to a counselor and says like, you're all over the place. I don't know what you're going to be good for. Maybe
Yeah.
psychology, forensic, like, and he was intelligent enough to ask me, what was your dream when you was a kid?
Hmm.
Some therapists, psychologists says that you define who you want to be between the age of 9 and 12 and says, oh, I wanted to be a superhero, to have a superpower. And he looked at me like, what? I want to be reading people and explain. And he laughed and says like, honey, you don't want a superpower. You want to be a behavioral analysis. You want to be a profiler. And I says, wait a
Hmm.
minute, that is a career? I can make money having fun? Like, yeah.
Right.
So I enrolled myself in the university. I have said it a million times. I find out that I'm highly dyslexic, so academic regular uh, course is not going to happen.
Right.
So I ended up putting clothing in my backpack and going around the world and study with everyone, even though if during the day I study with them and serving tables at night until I get my first gig in my profession. And I resented for many years not to be able to do it the way I wanted, but now I'm happy because I'm not training or doing this job from only one agency. I
Hmm.
study from them. I study from all the agencies around the world, from Israeli, CIA, FBI, military, and now I can translate it to civilians because being trained by them and being a civilian allow me to digest the information in an easy way
Hmm.
where I can teach people how to use it and how to benefit from this. And I found out a couple of months ago on an interview that I did with another panel of profilers that the best profilers on the world, they're either dyslexic or they have HDT. So
That's really interesting because you think that those people lack the ability to focus, but here it is that they have developed a skill that most of us haven't developed, the ability to
because
understand
your brain
others.
work together when you, in my case dyslexia, I didn't study the other one and I'm not a doctor. I don't have any degree to
Hmm.
get authority to talk beside my own experience, but I found out that I see and perceive things that other people do not. And yesterday you wasn't on live that we did with Lina Cisco, former interrogator in Guantanamo, and we were talking about that you never disconnect. We have the ability to see things that other people don't see.
Right.
Is not to be a psychic. And we talk about too that when you become a profiler, you smell, feel, live, and eat what you do for a living. You cannot even watch a movie without like what they were
Yeah.
thinking. That's
So
not
you're
is
saying that
coherent.
there's you don't get to shut off at all if you even in your personal life you're always using those skills.
Yeah, remember you asked me when we did the interview, and Lena yesterday says the same. She ended up marrying a colonel from, I think it's from the Navy or the military, because she it's the only way she couldn't be with somebody else. Actually, all the people who does what we do is or marry with somebody in the field, or somebody who managed your career, or somebody who can you can talk and understand and utilize your skills, because
Yeah.
it's really difficult to be with ourselves and be with other people. That's the reason most of my friends says you cannot date a civilian. You need to date somebody who is in the force or FBI or CIA, because the conversations are difficult because you
Yeah.
never disconnect. You go to the supermarket and like, oh, did you see the face of the person in front of us? Like, we're buying groceries. Shut up. I don't care. Like, but don't
Yeah,
you see that act weird? Like, I don't care if he had a gun and start killing people. Like, we came from bread and butter. Shut up.
that's it.
So
So
it's difficult.
I know you do training, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But how does, it's kind of obvious, but explain to us how having the skill for the average person, not someone who's trained like you, but the people who you're training, how does that uh, enhance their personal and their professional lives?
Okay, first of all, I want to say something because people think this is complicated, and I also says
Hmm.
it's a difference between complicated and complex. You have been an Olympic sport person, and you have been in the military. The only
Hmm.
way you get to the places you were because you have a training mindset,
Hmm.
because you were applying to your exercise every day. There are days that you don't want to get out of bed and do it, but you need to do it.
Right, discipline.
So you need to have a discipline in order to become good in what you do. Now, translating to the civilian life, do you know how many times couples have problems not because they're not talking about the same, is because the communication is interference,
Right.
because they have different ears, they have different eyebrows. How many times you have problems with your kids, with your partner, with your boss, your coworkers, or your clients, just because you don't understand that they do not need to receive the information in the way that you're delivering. They need another way to receive it.
Right.
People tend to talk to others the way they need to receive information, when the platinum rule is I need to talk to you how you need to receive it.
Hmm.
So imagine living in a world where I don't need 90 days to know who you are. I don't need 90 minutes. I need 90 seconds.
Yeah.
In 90 seconds, I know if I need to show you or talk to you. If for you is important consistency, or using words that help me to emphasize with my hands as a visual aid. What
Hmm.
about you want to hear a story? What about if your facts and data, or about for you is knowledge is like the food that you need every day?
Right.
So when you talk to your partner, it's like, oh, you're not listening to me. Like, yeah, I listen absolutely everything you says. I just don't want to interrupt you. So that's how we can uh, better communicate with others. We don't do magic. I wasn't born with this as a gift.
Hmm.
It's called a science, a pseudoscience. I don't care how you name it. I only can tell you that it's been working for me. It's putting a roof in my head and food on my table. Become really good in what I do, not for being cocky, it's because for applying myself and study every day. So as any human being can learn the same. What I can teach you as much as you want, but from your side, I need the discipline, like everything in life, to practice at least. I always say, if you practice once a week, and that's the reason we have a private Facebook group where we publish pictures that you can analyze. I have a comment, and I asked my student if I can use his testimonial. He did a face reading level 2 in 24 hours, and he
Hmm.
already sent me a 14-page report about himself and his wife. And like, what?
Yeah.
Like, this is super easy. Like, can I use your testimonial? He did level 1 in 48 hours, and he did level 2 in 24 hours. And now we're doing level 3 to 9. And he's like, when you have in the level 3, like, dude, I'm editing.
Let's
Give me
get it
time. Like,
done.
I want
Yeah.
I want a next level. I want the next level. This is so easy. Oh my God, it's gonna change my life. And
You
like,
know, you mentioned something in a previous conversation we're having, that this art or science of face reading is actually an ancient science, an ancient art. Speak to that just for a sec.
face reading, or what we've known as a physiognomy, was developed 5,000 years ago by the Chinese. What happened is doctors are only allowed to be if you're a man, and women were not allowed to be touched by men. They're not their husbands. So
Hmm.
how you diagnose, how you determine when somebody's sick? The same way when you go sometimes to do a massage and they push some part of your body, says, oh, your liver is not working. The
Hmm.
same things you can denote for moles, discoloration, wrinkles, and shapes on your face, or puffiness in your face. So, for my surprise, when I start keep digging, Koreans have the same. Most of the Asian cultures have it. Even you can find it in Egypt. You can find it in some Latin American civilizations. And
Hmm.
it's crazy because most people doesn't know, but in the Kabbalah, inside the Judaism, when you go to the Zohar part, it is a special part when they teach you Judaism face reading and palm reading. I don't do palm reading. I never explore it.
Hmm.
No, I don't know how accurate because I never do it, but it was crazy finding religions, cultures, and continents divided by water. Find that your face is so important,
Right.
and most people don't know. But do you know who was the first president who used the media on his favor to become president?
I'm gonna guess it was Abraham Lincoln.
Yes, sir.
I
Good
think I've read
call.
that somewhere.
Because A, he was a physiognomist. B, he understood that in order to people like you, they need to know who you are. And people need to recognize a face in order to know who you are. So he get
Hmm.
his picture taken and he wrote a letter saying, "Hi, my name is Abraham Lincoln. I want to be your next president. This is my wife's name. That's my kids. That's what we do. That's how I play with my kids." At the point they need to vote for him, they know him.
Yeah. So
So
he personalized himself, as it were.
yeah, this is the first campaign on the media was in the Nixon Kennedy debate. That was the
Right.
one who destroyed Nixon. But the truth to be told, the first one who was intelligent enough to use the what we call media at that point was Abraham Lincoln, because he knew that he had a face like a warrior, and
Yeah.
people was looking for somebody to rescue them from the
Hmm.
situation they were. And that's where
That's what he
he
did.
freed the slaves. The only problem is he become the first one making taxes. But anyway, but yeah, he was the
Well,
first one in a lot of things.
taxes and debt. So Susan, we're living in unprecedented times now. And you mentioned the coronavirus that's kind of holding us hostage. We're in this pandemic, and I, one of the things that we need to do is that we need to. The authorities are asking us to wear masks now. There are lots of people who are resisting this because they think it's impinging on their freedom. And I want to pause here for a minute just to say, hey, all of us, when we are driving down, whether it's a side street or the highway, we are required to wear a seatbelt, right? That you could argue is impinging on your freedom. If you want to fly on a plane, you better whip out an ID, and you also better take your shoes off and maybe more, which you could argue is impinging on your freedom. But we all need to do this because it helps to keep all of us safe. And so I want to implore those who are still a little bit hesitant for whatever reason. We're all in this together, so let's wear the mask. But beyond the feeling that look that the mask is impinging on our freedom, there are other issues that people have with wearing a mask, aren't there?
Yeah, the mask is not taking your freedom away. Actually, is giving you your freedom back. Why? Because if I take care of you, you take care of me. Now we can go to back to society. But it's true. People think that is infringing their liberty, and like you don't have any right. Because how many asymptomatic people we have on society that you don't know? For example,
Mhm.
my mom have a open heart surgery, and I couldn't go to see her because I need to be 14 days in quarantine because I don't want to take the risk. So we
Yeah,
arrange another way to do it because my mom says, I don't want you here. You're going to spend 4 days, 14 days quarantine, 14 days when you come back, and you still can be sick and you can kill me. And like,
yeah.
thank God my mom reasoning that, and we take care of that another way. But the point is, men don't want to wear a mask because they're being perceived as weak. 65 of the American only wearing a mask. Uh, More what I call minorities, they don't want to wear a mask because people have the concept that if I cannot see your smile or your part of your face, you're going to mock me. Only muggers use masks. So people don't use it because they don't
Mhm.
want to be criticized. Other don't use it to don't want to be look as weak. So what about if I tell you that actually the best features who can tell me how you're really feeling are not in your mouth. When you cover your mouth and your nose, actually that allow me to develop a new sense, that is to pay attention with the really things happening, not in the mouth, are in the eyes and the eyebrows. Our 7 micro expressions happen on the eyebrows and the forehead. Even contempt, I can determine somebody's contempt, that is one side of the mouth, if you flatten the eyelids when I'm talking to you. The real smile happen on the ear, on the eyes. So we have all those things.
Before you go on, you use the word micro expression. Can you explain that for us?
Micro expression, Darwin in between 1872 and 1875 find out through zoologists and studying human that we have certain expressions that we use to express feelings, different feelings. And he investigated with the tools that you have on the 1800s, what happened with this. After that, Duchenne started putting electrical on different muscles of the face to determine what a real smile happened. That's what we call the Duchenne smile. Different people from 100 years were investigated until Paul Ekman on this end of 60s, I think so. He get with Friedman and he get a grant when he received his diploma as a psychology, and I want to go to around the world to see if those expressions are really universal. Some people says they're more like shame. I found out due to that I was raised in 3 different continents, I found shame is the same in more cultures, maybe more or less, but since I'm not an expert on I'm getting nitty-gritty, I keep it to myself. But everybody who feel ashamed tend to cover the face, the mouth, the chest. Like people who feel ashamed, they always put the hands in some part of the body. But he worked on the basic 6 micro expression that Darwin started, and he added contempt. Contempt is the only unilateral that most people confuse as a smile. This is a smile. This is contempt. It's boredom, feeling superior to you. Actually, Dr. Gottman in Seattle and the Love Lab says there are 2 micro expressions that can determine if a couple is going to make it in the next 3 months to 3 years. Contempt and disgust. And believe it or not, more men show disgust, contempt, and more women show disgust, because women have a better sense of smell. So you're going to see when somebody is rejecting you, a woman will going to show disgust more, like when you frown your nose. Right. And men going to show more contempt, more superiority. But those are 2 expressions that you need to take a look. But the most danger one that most people don't talk because their thing is funny is surprise. Because surprise never, ever come along. Surprise, happy birthday is happiness. Surprise, I just saw my partner kissing somebody else. Surprise, anger. So surprise never, when you get surprised, it's for something good or something bad. So when people say, I don't want to learn surprise, like, wait a minute, you losing the words. Because contempt, disgust, sadness, happiness always coming before with surprise. Always. So surprise that you caught me when you caught your kid or even your pet doing something like, hi. Yeah. It's always comes surprise. So that's what is micro expressions. And all those happen in your eyes. So people are so worried to look in your mouth that we are not understand that. And I learned this from somebody who was part of my life who is deaf. And he became deaf at the age of 30. So he was really good profiling me and other people. He always caught me like, I'm going like, hey, Susan, this is going on with you. Like, how you know? For the way you walk, but you cannot listen what I'm saying. It's like, because when I lost my ear side, my ear listening part, I start learning how to read faces and bodies, and even though how your feet are or how you're walking, I know if you are in pain. And that's where I start thinking about the development about other senses like 20 years ago. And that's when this happened, and with COVID, and like, okay, People is afraid because they have the feeling they're not going to be able to know what is going on with you. And I remember my friend and says like, wait a minute, he taught me the one sense gone away, another one's come up. And it's true. We have been teaching people how to read faces with masks, and it was great. We have 98% of results, and that's the reason we start a study that is called Reading Faces with Mask.
Indeed.
Why are we doing this? It's going to have three phases. Phase one is the one we ask for collaboration. We're looking for around 200 people, different race, age, sex, and cultures. Doesn't matter what language you talk. If you live in India and Pakistan and Groenlandia, we would love to have your picture. The idea is you have a picture with a mask. You can go to humanbehaviorlab.com. On the main page, you're going to find where you can join us on the study. We need you to send pictures on the way that we explain. We cannot take pictures where we can see your face because we want to prove that it's true. We don't want to have preconception. So we're going to assign you a number and a case number. You're never going to be identified by name, or we're never going to publish your pictures. We're going to send you a report, the one we're reading your face with mask. You need to come back with us saying, I agree, disagree on this and that. We're going to quantify all the data and determine how accurate we were reading people with masks. Phase number two is that people who participate on the study, plus people who we already have a waiting list, from the Defense Department to doctors who want to be part of the second phase of the study, is that we're going to grab civilians who never ever had any previous training. They're coming from people who have PhDs to people who have not finished high school. And we're going to train them for 2 days in how to read faces, and we're going to give them pictures to read. We're going to get the second data set of information, how accurate they become. And we're going to help them to develop a free program that we're going to be giving to anyone, free program to anyone who want to learn how to read faces. Only to clarify, we don't have any company paying for the study. We don't have any grant from any government. We decide to do it ourselves and pay for the study ourselves because we don't want to have one bias and tainted. Open, I'm going to say it. We do have face reading classes. We do have reading faces with mask classes. That's the reason we do this in a separate website so people don't confuse. What we're doing is, since we are teaching people, since we have been doing this for 20 years, why not to help others? Right. So what we need for people is to collaborate in the study. I know privacy is important. So again, you're going to be assigned a case number. Your name and your picture never going to be published. All the information is stored in an external drive that is not connected to online, and all your information is going to be destroyed after the study is done. So I want to be really clear, and we're not going to be reading anything weird about you. The basic things to show you that we still, with a mask, we can communicate. And most people says, why are you wasting your time? Like, nope, I'm not wasting my time. I miss my friends. I miss to go back and study and teaching in person. I have one of the best keynote speaking that I'm going to give in my career this year. And I'm freaked out it's going to be canceled. It's in October. And I received an email said to them, like, you still want to do it? Like, yes, please. I've been waiting to be talking on a conference like this for a year. Please, if it's happening, I'm going to be, even if 5 people there are going to do it. Right. So I found out from the 3 things that we can help ourselves, because I always says, if you don't help yourself, don't expect somebody else to do it. Until we have a vaccine, using mask, hygiene, and distance is the 3 things that we can do. We can help you with one. We can help you to start wearing a mask.
What you're saying is, because people are walking around with such uncertainty and fear, right? That I walk into a store with a mask on, people right away are thinking they can't recognize me, they can't identify who I am. They don't know, they can't describe me because I'm wearing a mask, and they can't tell what I'm up to because all I'm showing are my eyes. And you're saying you're going to give us the tools to be able to be at ease when you see someone, because you can look at them and go, okay, this is what this person is up to. This is what they're thinking.
Not only we need to understand that there are some people have the luxury like us to work from home. Like I have more work than I have before. Like this weekend, it says I disconnected my email. So if you want to contact me this weekend, I'm not online. Forget about it. I need a weekend off to cut the grass and clean the kitchen, but weekend off. But other people that are essential workers, from people working on the warehouse, because you're receiving now all your groceries online or delivered, somebody needs to put your groceries in a place. Drivers, doctors, first responders, police, ambulance, fire department, they need to be out there working. We need essential workers, from the taxi driver. If you have an accident, I want you to be safe and me be safe. And I'm tired to hear my friends says there have been profiled because they're what is considered minority. I don't agree, but so everybody can understand that there has been profile in certain stores because they're wearing a mask. And like, I have a friend who called me like in tears, basically. He is almost over 50. It's the kind of guy that you wouldn't mess with, because believe me, he have a character almost in tear from the car, because it says, I needed to take my mask off from a hardware store because people was profiling me. Why? Because he's an African-American, 6 feet tall. And that's where like, okay, that is done. We're going to do the study. If I needed anything else to push me to do it, was seeing my friend for a long time being profiled just because she's wearing a mask. Like, no. No, it's not going to happen.
And I've experienced that myself, wearing a mask, so I get it. So just to reiterate, Susan, you're doing a study and you're inviting people to participate, and they can go to your website, humanbehaviorlab.com.
Correct, sir.
And on that page, right in the center, there's a button that says join us. And they can click on it. And so when they take the picture of themselves in the mask, where should it be? Over there, just over their mouth, or over their nose as well?
Only to clarify, the safest way to use a mask is covering your mouth and your nose. It's your decision how you want to send it, but only to clarify, you need to wear your mask and everything who have an entrance to your body, and wearing sometimes glasses too. But in order to send the mask, send us showing the nose or not. We are not going to be reading nose, even though you can read a lot of things on the top of the nose, the bridge and the bumps, you can read it. But we need 5 pictures. 1 neutral, 1 smiling. We need to see your left ear. We need to see your right ear in 90 degrees. And I don't remember the 5th picture, how it was, but the point is, we need to see all your angles so we can determine and reading better. And we need to see your ears. This is not about looking nice. We don't know who you are. We don't expect any information from you. So we have 2 candidates that we need to discard because they give us a bio. Hey, my name is X and Y. I do this and this. So this study is really important for me. And we talk with the team like, because even though we don't have any grant, I have friends who does studies from Harvard and another universities where we ask for the parameters to make sure the study it's on any university level, not a commercial level. So we have the parameters and the disclaimer and everything, how it need to be done. And I talk to my friends, says, I think that I need to, even though we need this picture because they're really, really good. They're talking about a lot of information that I feel that I'm biased. I know too much about to be neutral. And he says, yes, you're right. The parameters, if I need to be doing this study in the university, these 2 need to be eliminated. So what I did is I did a face reading saying thank you, but I tell them, I'm sorry, you're not part of the study. For sending your information, we did the reading, but please, if you're going to send friends to here, we don't need to know. You tell me your name, last name, your work, your age, you're married, how many kids, what are your problems? Like, I can't, because now I know about you and how I prove that the things that I see in your face has to do with your face and know what you told me. This is about it's not about to be right because we want to be right. We want to use this study to determine how is the best way, A, to teach you how to read faces, B, to read faces to you, and C, to show you that it still doesn't matter how long we need to get our face covered. Some people says it's going to be more than 2 years, and I don't want to use a scarcity of fear. But if this is reality and we can help, why no? So the help that we need from you is send us a picture. You can ask as many questions before you send the picture regarding your safety and about what we're going to be reading. No problem to answer, but please do not send any personal information because we need to take you off of the study.
Right. So, I mean, that is awesome. Humanbehaviorlab.com. What you're doing is empowering yourself, all of us, by participating in a study like this. Allowing ourselves to get information that's going to allow us to navigate through this really challenging time. Because look, we don't know. It could be a year from now. It could be 2 years from now before we get back to some sense of normalcy. And
only to be clear, we are the only institution around the world doing this study. There's only one institution, a defense department of a country in Europe, doing this study, but they were not going to publish the result. They're going to use it internally. So I want to clarify, this is not a privately held study, meaning that we don't have any fund from any company, even though we were approached by. The results are going to be public, and after the results is going to be a training, and it's the only study. So there's not hidden agendas. We're not looking for anything in exchange. We're not going to sell the information. It's going to be for free. I had 20 years of career, and I'm not going to waste it to a paycheck. So this is going to be to help you. So I want you to people understand that it's not anything hiding. We help yourself to help you. That's why we're doing this study.
All right, cool. So, Susan, I think it's amazing. I'm glad we're able to connect. Thanks for coming on and sharing your wisdom, your experience, your expertise, and also for offering to help. I think giving back is such an important part of why all of us are on this earth, and you doing this is definitely a way to give back and to empower all of us, or certainly those who will be participating in the study, to be able to navigate, as I said earlier, this challenging time. So thanks again. And guys, humanbehaviorlab.com. Check it out. Until we connect next time, you know the deal. Keep on pushing. Thanks, Susan.